For years in the military, I was trained to leave my motherhood at the door. It wasn't welcome or professional or allowed in many ways, or at least that was the narrative. You can't be a mother and a leader in this space because it's not seen as credible, or you have to hide and suppress the evidence of your motherhood in order to show up as a good leader.
Overwhelm, reaction mode, and just keeping up are the old way.
You need real, root-level strategies and practical steps to grow your business or ministry without exhaustion and burnout.
Hi there, we're Anna Saucier
And Megan Gephardt,
best friends and business consultants who help faith-filled women create sustainable growth through simple strategy with a people-first approach.
Here at Apostolic Fruit, we hope to offer you clarity, support, accompaniment, and healing,
one tiny step at a time.
Hey, my friend, Megan Gephardt here. Welcome back to the Apostolic Fruit Podcast. We want to share a vulnerable story today that I pray is going to speak to your heart if you need to hear this too. So Anna and I have been dreaming about hosting a retreat for a long time. And I will never forget when she first brought up the idea of doing it this fall. I had my 9-month-old nursing baby in my arms, and one of the first thoughts that I was almost afraid to say out loud was, am I allowed to bring Andrew? Or do I need to figure out how to make this work without him? He is my third boy, but the very first I've never had to leave overnight. The first I've been able to stay really close to and keep with me in these early months of his life. And that one question, am I allowed to bring him, had just come with this flood of old conditioning because for years in the military, I was trained to leave my motherhood at the door. It wasn't welcome or professional or allowed in many ways, or at least that was the narrative. You can't be a mother and a leader in this space because it's not seen as credible, or you have to kind of hide and suppress the evidence of your motherhood in order to show up as a good leader. And in those spaces, I was constantly torn from my babies, pumping, just trying to figure out how to pump in the middle of the desert, in the jungle, in a field tent, in the middle of the night with a red lens flashlight, just praying I could keep the milk cold enough and hoping I'd get 15 minutes between missions doing these logistical gymnastics just to get the milk home. And constantly feeling like I was just pulled from them. And so this retreat, as we were planning it in Antigua, Guatemala, would require travel and would require me to be on, quote unquote, as a leader in a way that is in person and is a little less flexible than working remotely and shaping my hours around what works really for him and his schedule and my needs with him and his needs. So even though this retreat is ours and we're not beholden to constraints that I had in the military, the old fears and those wounds rose up again, right? Because I still carry the weight of those narratives that I need to prep him to be without me, that I would need to get him used to a bottle and pumping and maybe being away overnight from me, that I need to go full back into logistics mode, and that I would need to minimize his and my needs in order to lead and to show up well in that space. It brought me right back to all of those operational environments and those moments where I had very real needs, the time and space to pump, to refrigerate and transport the milk, and no guarantee that those needs would be met. I had very little support in it, few others who saw the importance of those needs other than me. And on top of that, being constantly in these environments that I didn't control, or I didn't have the knowledge of the plan. I didn't often have access to resources to include running water or reliable power, or even the ability to communicate because we didn't have our phones with us, or you're just on radio communication or whatever was meant for that military mission. And in those times, I experienced very, very severe anxiety and stress. And it was so thick that it was often suffocating at the time. And I didn't even have the awareness or the name for it, but I know I was deeply experiencing it at the time. And so, of course, this current reality as we're planning this retreat is very different than those experiences. But my body remembered as if all of that was happening again. I'm still making plans to be in a new space, navigating how to meet my baby's needs and mine together. And that's vulnerable. And my nervous system felt those old narratives coming back. I'm too much. My needs are too much. I will be a burden. This is going to interfere with the mission. I'm somehow going to be less of a leader or a teammate because of having Andrew around or needing to nurse him every few hours, even while we're building something that is meant to break those exact narratives. And so in this internal conflict I was having, I shared all this with Anna, and she received me so well in it. And she responded, I wonder how this could be a gift and not a burden. And it brought me to tears because even though it's painful, I know that the Lord is healing those past experiences. He had brought a layer of healing when a year or two after going through those things as a first-time mom, I was then advocating for change at the military policy level, fighting for better lactation support and pregnancy and postpartum and family support policies while I was still in uniform, fighting for a different experience than I was able to have because I didn't want other people to experience the same pain that I had to go through. But there's still layers of this that need to be healed. And in this experience that was bringing this up really brought that to light. And Anna and I, as we're talking through this, she said, oh yes, right? The Lord wants to love on you and heal all these spaces, especially where you had to fight for your needs and your children's needs, because you shouldn't have had to do that. He wants to take care of them. He wants to take care of Andrew. He wants to take care of you, and he wants you to feel and be fully supported. And I just tried to take that in the moment. And to take it even a layer deeper, I know that God is also restoring this belief that it's okay to have needs at all. And as I was just processing this, and Anna and I were kind of in the middle of this conversation, it was almost like a balm from heaven. This quote from Olivia Spears, the founder of Into the Deep, came through my inbox. And she was just reflecting on our neediness as human beings. And what she wrote just struck me so deep. And she said, Jesus remains unafraid of our humanity. He is not repulsed by the fact that you have needs, a lot of them. He's not intimidated by human emotion or the human experience of living in a fallen world. In fact, when we rejoice in our neediness of God, rather than recoil from it, or maybe try to run and hide from it or minimize those needs so that we're not an inconvenience to others or whatever, right? She says we're able to experience his love more fully. So let us come as poor beggars, for that is what we are, and that is who he loves. And man, my heart really needed that. Because the truth is, Andrew and I are a package deal, and I couldn't imagine going without him. So he's going to be joining us for this retreat. He's going to be on site. We have a wonderful nanny who will be helping take care of him while Anna and I facilitate. His sweet face will be coming in and out, and he'll be coming and going to nurse and just be seen and loved on every few hours. And that will be good. And as I was just continuing to kind of process the layers here, my therapist said something that really stuck with me. She said, when we've experienced trauma, it gets triggered by anything that resembles it, even if it's a different circumstance. But if it has similar threads or brings up the same kind of physiological reaction, or our nervous system interprets it in a similar way, whenever we stand up for our present self and her needs, it's healing to our past self, the one who may have never been honored in those needs, who may have never had someone standing up for her, who may have never had a strong witness that says, you are good in this moment, and you deserve to be loved and cared for and supported, and whatever it is, right? So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm letting this moment be healing for that younger version of me. I'm letting myself actually have needs. I'm letting them be met. I'm letting Jesus meet me in my neediness, and I'm rejoicing in it. This is the way that God has designed us, to need him desperately and to also need each other. And in those places where we are weak, maybe, or vulnerable, or just dependent on others, it may be really hard to accept sometimes. It takes a certain level of humility, right, to let others into those spaces. But the reality is, we can be a gift to others and meeting them in their places of need, right? And the same thing comes back to us. To allow others to meet us at our point of need can also be a gift. And this is the beauty of the body of Christ and the way that we just get to love each other like Jesus loves us. And friend, that's what we want for you too. You get to have needs as a human being. You get to come with those needs, whether it's at the retreat or whether it's working with us in any capacity. You get to come as you are. Every part of you is welcome here, and you don't have to leave parts of you or roles that you play at the door, because that in itself is disintegrating and it's also dehumanizing if we really think about it, right? So we're not only going to receive you in your needs, we're not just going to tolerate them, but we want to welcome them. And that's part of the sacred space that we are creating in this retreat and that we hold in any kind of container as we work with people. Because the reality is your needs are one of the most important things to be attuned to if you want to lead well, or if you want to build a business that actually feels life-giving and feels deeply supportive for you and your family, that feels supportive and life-giving to everyone involved, maybe your team members and your clients. You don't have to leave any part of yourself at the door. Your exhaustion, your fears, the heavy burdens that feel like they're too much to carry alone, your questions, your doubts, your body, your story, your motherhood, your hidden grief, your baby. So as we shape this space in which we work with women, it's always being co-created with the woman who has already said yes to doing it differently. And it will always be shaped around what you need most. You are not too much. You are never a burden. And you are always welcome as you are. If you've ever been in any space with us, I think that is something that we hold very dear and we deeply value, that you get to come as you are, with your full self, with whatever you carry, with whatever your past may have told you that you're not allowed to need. So come and just let yourself be received, because that is what you deserve. That is how the Lord wants to love you, and that is how we want to love and support you too.
We hope you loved today's episode. If so, would you take a moment to share it with a friend?
If you haven't already, come connect with us human to human at apostolicfruit.com/connect. When you're ready, we'd love to support you more deeply.
May the Lord bless you and keep you, make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you,
And turn his face toward you and give you peace.